We have a handful of politicians who have pushed an amendment through our state ballot, which has been conducted in a well-planned and well-funded campaign based on misinformation and fear. It says we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. This is a value we cherish as Americans and as Oklahomans. What Senator Sykes and the author of State Question 755, Representative Duncan, are proposing is taking away the unalienable rights of a minority community in the state of Oklahoma. When we heard about this proposed amendment, I realized that I, as a Muslim, was being told that I don't have the same rights as a Christian or a Jew or as any other person of any other faith. To marry in accordance to my religion, to give to charity in accordance to my religion, to will my property in accordance to my religion, to enter into a business contract in accordance to my religion. This is why we felt compelled to speak up as a community, as Oklahomans, as a civil liberties advocate. Anytime any minority is told they do not have the same rights as the majority, I feel compelled to speak up. That's why we're here today. And we also wanted to announce that I, Munir Awad, in my individual capacity, have filed a lawsuit with the United States District Court of the Western District of Oklahoma this morning, seeking to enjoin the Oklahoma State Election Board from certifying the election results with respect to the unconstitutional amendment that was proposed by State Question 755.
There's a very clear, unequivocal message that's being sent by the State Question 755. It's singling out Sharia law, which encapsulates a religious tradition that encompasses thousands and hundreds of thousands of pages of documents, some of them conflicting, some of them adhered by others, by some groups and not by others. And it's saying anything associated with that religious tradition is immediately rejected because of its origin, not because of its content. In order to exclude Sharia law from the courtroom, you have to make a determination on what is Sharia law and what is not Sharia law. So here we have a very odd situation where someone claiming to be on the side of the separation of church and state is actually creating a situation where we're going to have courts deciding what is included in a religious tradition and what is not included in a religious tradition. And that's self-defeating. Architects of State Question 755 made it very clear what their purpose was. They described State Question 755 as a preemptive strike against a looming threat. What is that looming threat? A preemptive strike against who? Those are the questions that the lawsuit asks, and those are questions that suggest their own answers. This was motivated, it was designed to stigmatize Muslims, to turn the Constitution of Oklahoma into a vehicle for oppressing a minority that is currently unpopular.
How real is the threat of Sharia law becoming the law of the land? Well, probably about as likely as a band of Catholics managing to get canon law as the tool that courts would use to adjudicate disputes. It's a non-existent threat. And as has been mentioned, all it does is attempt to demonize a segment of our population. And frankly, the ACLU finds that completely unacceptable. This is not just the Sharia law amendment. Realize that international law is mentioned in this constitutional amendment as well. And do you really think for a moment, as bad a shape as we're in economically, that the international community, and by that I mean the international business community, isn't going to take note of interesting little pieces of legislation like this? Do you think it might have a chilling effect on foreign investment in the state?
I can take all the criticism and all the attacks from all, but when the attack comes from our elected officials, those who are supposed to represent us all, the people, not just Al, I draw the line. The Constitution reads, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty, to ourselves and our posterity do ordain. We the people. And today, those are my very American values. And yes, indeed, they are very Islamic values. State Question 755 will harm our perfect union, will damage our justice, will spoil our domestic tranquility, will blemish our common defense, will tarnish our general welfare, and will indeed never secure the liberty for all. Today, we stand together in solidarity with our fellow Oklahomans to stop and put a stop to bigotry and racism. Thank you.
To prohibit the use of Islamic Sharia law in Oklahoma courts appears to have been a pointless anti-Muslim slap in the face, designed apparently to inflame fearful voters to flock to the polls where they might equally support anti-Muslim candidates. Does anyone fear the use of Catholic or Methodist religious doctrine in Oklahoma courts? Maybe we need constitutional amendments about that possibility too. It is unseemly, even un-American, to arouse bad feelings between Muslim Americans and American citizens of other faiths. Americans are free to practice any religion or no religion, and it is time to put aside this foolish Islamophobia and celebrate once again being the American melting pot.